Mogul Motivation, empowering and inspiring entrepreneurs and dream chasers worldwide, 1 week at a time. Presented by True Stories Media, and I am your host, Antoine Twiz Taylor. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mogul Motivation. Welcome back. I'm happy that you are here. If this is your first time listening, this podcast is for the aspiring entrepreneur trying to get over that hump and make things happen. This podcast is for anybody with a dream that wants to go forward and accomplish that dream. You have to fall in love with what you are doing. You know, we paint this picture of entrepreneurship as some oasis, some paradise, some life of ease, which ultimately is what we all are after. However, the reality is, if you are not careful, your business, your entrepreneurial journey can become just as mundane, just as draining, just as demoralizing as that 9-to-5 that you hate, as that career that you're trying to pivot away from. It can become the same exact thing. You can loathe the business that you created. You can loathe the task and the administration and the operations of it if you are not careful. And this is a trap that I too fell into over the course of my entrepreneurial journey. I got to a point where I didn't want to do certain photo shoots. I got to a point where I dreaded weddings. I dreaded certain events. I dreaded things. But in order to make money, I had to do them anyway. And it's no different than working at a warehouse. I used to work at a warehouse for a major corporation in this country. And I used to hate going to that job. And then eventually I used to hate having to do certain things for my own business. So you have to be careful to avoid that pitfall. In order to do that, you have to fall back in love with what you are doing, right? Life is like a full circle moment. Here in 2024, the ideas that I have, the plans I'm working on to execute, is nothing new. All of these things crossed my mind over 10 years ago, in 2010, in 2011, 2012, 2013. But the difference is now versus then is back then, I didn't have the confidence in myself. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't think that my ideas and my gifts and my talents could print unlimited money and create the life, that oasis, that paradise that I envisioned in my mind. I didn't believe those things. I didn't have the faith in myself. And therefore, because I didn't have the faith in myself, I didn't have faith in God. I didn't have faith in God in the context that these ideas God gave me were for a purpose. So as a result, I started doing things that I didn't really want to do, but necessarily they were bringing me money. And the snowball effect of that was I began to hate it. I began to loathe it. I began to be hesitant. And soon my business became just as mundane as all of these 9-to-5 jobs that I was working, all of these part-time jobs I was working, these jobs I didn't care about working. You have to fall back in love with your business, everybody. You have to fall back in love with your gifts. You have to fall back in love with your talents. And it all starts with the faith. It all starts with the trust that God gave you these ideas for a purpose. If you were not meant to do it, the ideas would have never came to you in the first place. They would have never been planted in your mind in the first place. They are there for a reason. You have to trust that. You have to believe that. You have to trust that you are capable of executing these ideas into a tangible reality. So that's the first step in falling back in love with what you do, is trusting what you do, is having faith in God and in yourself in regards to what you do, knowing that what you are doing is very unique and is very relevant to the marketplace and to the world. That is your purpose. It doesn't matter how many other people are doing the same thing that you want to do. It doesn't matter how oversaturated this industry is. The fact is, you have this idea. You've been blessed with it. This idea came to you as if it was a magnet. You are a magnet to these ideas. These ideas are in your mind so they can print unlimited money for yourself, so you can create that paradise for yourself, that life that you want for yourself. But not only that, so you can bless other people around you. You have to understand, it's deeper than you. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this idea is to bless you. Yes, this idea is to grow your business. Yes, this idea is to create a life of ease for you and your family, but it's deeper than you. These ideas are not meant for you to be selfish. These ideas are meant for you to execute so you can bless somebody else, so you can let somebody else's entrepreneurial career be a little bit easier and alleviate that burden, so you can bless somebody who doesn't have, so you can do things in your community that nobody else is going to do in your community. This is deeper than you. But you have to fall back in love with what you do. I am falling back in love with what I do. Valentine's Day just passed a couple weeks ago. You know, the day of love and romance and all of these things. But you have to fall back in love with yourself. You know, these corporations, these brands, they pump all this marketing into us so we can dish out money at the restaurants, on gifts, on flowers, on candies, on cars, on all these things. And we're not blessing ourselves and spending and investing time in ourselves and in our gifts. You have to trust yourself. You have to love yourself. And once you trust yourself, once you love yourself, you can understand that God didn't make a mistake by bringing this idea to you. And when you realize God didn't make a mistake by bringing this idea to you, now you can bring this idea to the world with full confidence. That is what I lacked back then in 2010, in 2011, 12, 13, 14. But it's what I have now in 2024. Nothing is new under the sun, and nothing in your mind is new. Again, everything that I'm doing now, I had the ideas 10 plus years ago. But now I have the confidence, and now I'm in love with what I do in 2024, and I can fully go forward with the full confidence and execute and bring these ideas into a tangible reality that's not only going to bless myself, but it's going to bless those around me. It's going to bless my loved ones, and it's going to bless my community. And I thank God for allowing me to be a steward and choosing me to carry this idea. So that's my message this morning, everybody. Let's continue to work. Let's continue to imagine reality. Fall back in love with what you do. If something is mundane, if something is demoralizing, if something is draining you, it's because you're not in love with what you do. It's because you're not doing what you are meant to do. You might think you are, but you're not. Revisit those ideas that God gave you. Fall back in love with it. Trust yourself, have faith in God, regain that confidence, and begin to execute. If this podcast has benefited you in any way, shape, or form, ask for two things as always. Number one, please leave a 5-star review. And number two, pass it on to a friend who may benefit from it as well. Have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you next week.